It is runoff election night here in Texas as voters decide who will be on the ballot in November. So you can find a full list of the results on our website. Just go to fox4news.com. But right now, let's get right to the biggest race. The Republican runoff for U.S. Senate, and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has defeated sitting Senator John Cornyn for the Republican state nomination. Fox 4's David Centenry is at Paxton's watch party in Plano. David.
Well, Heather, I can tell you that Ken Paxton's U.S. Senate watch party here in Plano is effectively over, and I don't think anyone who is in this room tonight expected it to be over this early. But that just goes to show how big of a victory this was and how those results really just came in much earlier than expected. I was in this room when it was projected on the screen that the Associated Press was calling this race for Ken Paxton, and this crowd just erupted. Again, he was slightly favored in this race, but to some people I was asking, they were saying, hey, you know, we view this as a coin flip. Early numbers, however, for Paxton were big, and that gap did not close. Keep in mind, for months, President Donald Trump dangled his endorsement, only announcing last week that Paxton is his guy. So with how close the primary election was a couple months back, you have to think President Trump's endorsement played a role in this big win for Paxton, and Paxton made sure to thank the president in his victory speech just a bit ago.
And then there's one person who I think you might know, President Donald J. Trump. When everyone in Washington told him to abandon me and abandon the people of Texas, he didn't listen. Instead, he gave his complete and total endorsement. President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics. And I'm honored to have his support.
So those numbers, again, you probably saw them on your screen, but Ken Paxton with 63% of the vote. What I'm seeing right now, 37% for John Cornyn. That's with 62% of precincts reporting. Again, I don't even think Paxton supporters thought the win would be this big. In fact, Paxton came on stage 30 minutes earlier than expected. He was supposed to come on just a bit after 9 o'clock, ended up coming around that 8:30 time just because he was projected to be the winner so early. So this thing is really just wrapping up right now when they're on to talking about the Democratic candidate, James Tallarico. And while Ken Paxton was on stage, he threw out a few nicknames for Tallarico that I do not think Tallarico and his supporters would appreciate. He told people here in this audience that Tallarico is a threat to Americans. I know we're going to have more in just a bit on the response from Tallarico, who's obviously watching this race closely this evening to see who he's going to go up against in November. But there were at least a few hundred people. This room was packed because, keep in mind, this was really the most important race of this runoff election. So a lot of people came out here this evening, and a lot of people are out early. Heather?
Indeed. All right. And David, you know, we've all seen the Tallarico ads, the negative ads about him that have started to run. So I imagine it's only going to start to ramp up from here.
You got to think so. We've all seen those ads already. And as I mentioned, at the end of Paxton's speech, he started going right to some of those names we've heard Tallarico called in those ads. A lot of people talking about some of the rather controversial things he has said, talking about how God is non-binary and just other things that have been used in political ads. Again, Tallarico might want to paint some context around some of the things that he said, but there's no question that that Cornyn-Paxton race we saw had a lot of animosity between the two, a lot of negative attack ads, and you got to think as we gear toward November, it's just going to be a whole lot more.